America's education is in big trouble. One reason why is because students in America are not valuing their education as much as other students in other nations. Many are dropping out of school earlier, and this causes many problems. One problem that a country's students not valuing their education can cause is economic troubles. A high school dropout will earn about $260,000 less than a college graduate. If this continues to happen in the future, America's economy will go down the drain. Another reason why America's educational system is currently failing is because of its poor conditions in school areas and school buildings. 3/4 of the nation's schools, or 59,400, report needing repairs, renovations, or modernization in order to reach good condition. This should not be happening in a modernized and advanced industrial nation such as the United States. Not having the best educational systems in America can also result in many crimes. A 1-year increase in average years of schooling for dropouts would reduce murder and assault rates by almost 30%, motor vehicle theft by 20%, arson by 13%, and robbery by 6%. Instead of having the United States spend so much on the military and defense, we could spend a lot more on our educational systems. In a recent study, California spent about $80 billion to construct public and private schools and institutions. Despite having a bountiful of classrooms, there is a lack of teachers. In 2010 alone, about 22,000 Californian teachers and school employees received pink slips. This severe lack of teachers is another reason why America's educational system is so bad. The fewer teachers a country or state has, the less attention the kids in each classroom gets, which results in less educated Americans. American students rank 17th in science and 25th in math when compared to other industrialized nations. They don't have the skills to take on the high-tech jobs of the future. This is because of how and what we teach American kids. Many governors across the United States are also employing major budget cuts to schools across the nation. If this continues to happen, kids and teachers in schools won't have proper equipment to use for educational purposes, which would severely destroy the educational systems. Not having a great educational system in terms of valuing education and caring about it can also result in a fewer population in the United States. U.S. high school dropouts have a life expectancy 9.2 years shorter than high school graduates. If students in the United States continue to act the way they are of dropping out at a young age, the country will see a dramatic decrease in population size, which will dramatically decrease production in the United States. In the end, the hope of improving our educational system as a whole in this country is in the people's hands. If the people come together and petition to the government for a better educational budget, as well as a better educational plan altogether, our educational system will boom. The students also, once again, have to have an appreciation for education like in the past. This, with a parent's motivational skills, will definitely benefit the student and make him or her thrive in the educational area. Do you think the American educational system in other parts of the United States needs improving?
I do think it needs improving, because I know if you look at our test standards compared to other countries, it is low. Although I do know that other countries usually rule out that some of their lower test grades don't really count, but I still think that the U.S. should be able to compete with them, because I feel like our educational system could be the best.
How so?
Well, I know that we actually import people to get human capital because they like our school is better than other schools in different countries. And I know that if we can lead the world in colleges, I think that we could end up leading the world in high schools and maybe elementaries.
All right. Do you think the government, who spends only 2% of its revenue on education, is spending enough on education?
I do think that we should spend more. I know that our military budget's pretty high up there, and I do feel like we could lower that at least like 4%. I know that the military does need money, but I feel the education of our future soldiers is also important.
What do you think the government can do to improve the educational system?
I think that they could put more strict rules and like try to regulate the educational system. I know that some people drop out of high school and stuff. I feel like there should be programs in order to kind of get them to stay in longer and see if they can, just complete it, because that would help out a lot for their future.
Do you think the American students are also at fault for America's failing educational system?
Partly I do. I know that there are new technology and stuff that kind of make kids a little lazier, but I do feel that if the educational system could get kids more involved and actually make like learning a little bit fun instead of just that thing you have to do, I think that it could be a lot better.
All right, thanks for your time. All right. Do you think the American educational system in other parts of the United States needs improving?
You know what? As a matter of fact, I think I do believe that because, in other parts of the U.S., school districts are really bad in other parts of the U.S., especially like in the South, and like states like Mississippi with like the lowest test average in the whole U.S., and even Detroit here, like close by. Like I heard about like school administration like stealing money from the kids and like using it to like spend on casinos and gambling and stuff. That's just terrible. It's a travesty and it should be put to an end immediately. Anyway, my second point is that in other parts of the world, outside of the U.S., they put a greater focus on education, and they invest more money in education, and they encourage students to strive for excellence. And that's just something we don't do here, and we should encourage people to do more of that here.
Do you think the government, who is spending only 2% on education, is spending enough on education?
Only 2%. It's terrible. You know what? I think we should strive to spend even more than 2%. Considering how much we spend on national defense, we spend 30% of our budget on national defense every year, and that's ridiculous.
What do you think the government can do to improve the current educational system?
I think the government should, first of all, stop putting such an emphasis on standardized testing, because that makes teachers teach only to the test, and it really does happen. It's not just a myth, and that's bad because students are just constantly worrying about tests, not actually achieving anything.
Do you think the American students are also at fault for America's failing educational system?
Yes, I strongly believe they are, because American students, many of them, focus more on like partying and drinking and drugs and sex rather than what's important at this age, which is education and getting a good education so you can contribute to society in the future. And that's key to our nation's success.
The American educational system in most of the country is falling apart and is very bad compared to other industrialized nations. However, hope is still there. The people of the United States have to come together and petition to the government for a better educational system. The students also once again have to have an appreciation for education like in the past. This, with the parents' motivational skills, will benefit the student and make him or her thrive in the educational area.